Yeah, maybe I will ask everyone in the position I see them in my screen. Then I first start with Sebastian. Can you introduce yourself and your company?
Yes, so Sebastian, I'm representing R8 Technologies, an Estonian startup. I represent them in Western Europe, and that way also connected to Holland Contact PropTech. And next to representing them as well, I'm also a well AP. So that's my interest of healthy working.
What's a well AP that you can
so the well
certify?
The well certification certifies buildings on health and well-being for the end users.
Yeah.
Okay.
Clear. Aman, can I give you the floor?
Yes, of course. Hi, everyone. It's Aman. I'm based in the Netherlands right now. Background is in aerospace engineering. Somehow I got into aviation noise problem in my research, and then started the company denoise that I'm representing now, which is focusing on mitigating the effects of noise, which is also quite an important topic in healthy working these days, but also healthy living in homes.
Yeah, can imagine. Thank you. Hassan.
Hey everyone, I'm co-founder and CEO of Sunscreen. I'm right now in Turkey, and before starting Sunscreen, I used to work as an energy economist in several institutions in Germany. Now with Sunscreen, we tackle the challenge of management and upgrading of indoor air quality in commercial real estates. So we deploy low power and low cost IoT devices and optimize and learn various air quality parameters in the real estate. So we provide constant insights and optimization for healthier spaces.
It has nothing to do with literally green, has it? Or?
It does, because providing the healthier environment, it also brings a lot of savings in terms of HVAC, which is almost 50% of a building's energy consumption. So we definitely come up with some savings, which green comes from.
Super, thanks. Radu.
Hi everyone, I am the founder of URAD Monitor, which is a global network of IoT devices focused on environmental monitoring. So we are measuring everything everywhere, and we are also getting to the sick building syndrome in regards to the healthy working topic, where it's important to keep an eye on various parameters which can have an impact on our health on the short term or on the long term. So this is just a component of the startup that I have founded, and it goes on the same recipe of using IoT sensors to gather data which can be meaningful for us on whatever we want to use it, in this case, indoor air quality.
Thank you. It's interesting that you say sick building syndrome. It's a term I didn't hear for quite a lot of years, but I think it's back again, eh?
Yeah, it is. We didn't solve this problem yet.
It's definitely back, Stephanie. It's yeah, you keep hearing it more and more.
Yeah, especially nowadays. Do you see an increase in question on your services with the COVID?
Yeah, I think more and more attention is on returning to the office and making sure that we provide a healthy environment for people to work in. And with R8, we're able to make sure that the HVAC installation is running properly. So yeah, that's definitely one thing which is helpful. You see that there's a lot of talking as well with regards to increasing ventilation rates, changing set points for humidification, etc. But yeah, for us, the first step is to make sure that installations are running properly as they should be running. And that's typically already not the case. So yeah, there's already a lot of ground to be won on that field.
Mm-hmm.
And can we provide everyone a safe and healthy workplace? Can anyone elaborate on that?
Yeah. So let me speak up. Like safe and healthy is like it's not only the air, indeed. So maybe Sebastian should know better than I do. But it's about lighting. It's about proper, again, noise. It's about healthy air. It's about the right temperature and humidity. And if you can combine all of those in an appropriate range, then you can get close. However, our perspective that we saw in buildings up to now, most of the cases there is the problem is maybe let's say it's much bigger than we can fix. Like we can guide them to fix something, but usually maybe 50% of the cases they're wrong from the build or design phase. So as a company that you, let's say, visit a building and see a bunch of problems, there is sometimes limited things that you can establish or bring towards safety, safer or healthier work, or even maybe school. So we're starting now, I guess, scratching the surface with maybe lots of companies out there or innovators. And I think now we will have a greater chance to upgrade or maybe rebuild our facilities from scratch, design better, implement better.
Yeah, it's a good point.
In your experience, you also see like the offices or the buildings that are there that are already working, that motivating them just on the value proposition that you should make it a bit more healthy for your employees, just by monitoring the temperature a bit better or humidity. Is it a convincing enough argument for them to make huge changes to their building? Because
yeah, if I can respond to that, I definitely think looking at a building, looking at the 99 and 1%. So there used to be a lot of, so 90% of the company's cost goes into staffing cost, goes into labor cost. So 10% is cost of the building, rent, etc. And out of that 10%, another 10% is the energy cost. So I used to focus on that 1%, and well, if you can save 10% or if you can save 20%, that's definitely good. But if you can make an impact on that 90% and have an impact of 1% on that, well, that's definitely a much bigger topic. And yeah, you can definitely see that the different aspects of well-being and comfort are taken into account and are considered or more considered. Okay, we know this is influenced. So sound, temperature, lighting. Indeed. So yeah, it's more, or there are more questions, and there are more companies moving towards, okay, the building isn't only a place you go to work to, it should be a healthy environment as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think more than only healthy, like you're saying, Sebastian, because 2 days ago, Yuri van Geest was here, and he's talking about war on talent as well. And you see they go to festivals, experience there a lot more than only the four walls of the office. So bring that experience to the office.
Yeah, I think you have two. That one. So one is indeed the war on talent. So you need to attract the youth, and you need to give them more purpose in their work and more satisfaction in why should I go to the office. And the other thing is the returning to work. So we've seen the biggest experiment on working from anywhere. Hassan, you can tell because you're 3 months in Turkey, but working from anywhere.
Locked in Turkey.
Yeah, but I think we're all pretty much capable, and some companies are realizing that, hey, we don't need to go to the office 5 days a week. We can change that so that the office will have a different function, but then again, it will still have more of a perspective from it should be a healthy environment.
I would also like to add something. Move it from the employee to the employer. That is because, of course, our first thought is to put the emphasis on how great our working place is. Of course, this is a parenthesis. We are not taking into account the changes we see nowadays. But on the traditional side, normally we would first think of how good is the office for the employee. But for the employer, on the other hand, things are a bit different. And just to give you an example of how technology changes our knowledge on how things work is a simple experiment where several CO2 monitors were installed in an office building. Of course, the idea there was to make sure that all those working there have fresh air and optimal working conditions. But at the end of the day, what we learned was that there was a strong correlation between the CO2 levels and the various moments of the day. And the explanation there was that the building already had a good, so the atmosphere inside was properly controlled and ventilated. However, we would see elevating CO2 levels right before the lunch break. And the reason for that was that the employees were more motivated to work harder because they would get this benefit of having their lunch and a quick break, and they were all happy and properly motivated to do their job faster and with better speed. And you would see the result on increased CO2 level due to their increased mental working rates and so on. And you could see this in the data. So at the end of the day, we can use the sensors and the data for both things. One is to ensure a better office experience for those working there, but on the other hand, we get insight on our optimum working conditions for the employer as well. And we can get an insight on how well the job is done there and things are progressing there. And we can do that with the technology that we have today.
Yeah, that's a great insight, I do. And then giving a little bit of attention to the noise, Aman, because I know of a pilot in Schiphol where they tested everything, so the humidity, the air quality. But in the end, the employees only said, the noise, I'm getting crazy because I can't work. How important is that?
I think it's one of the most important factor at the moment, because if you look at any statistics of any big buildings, the most complaints are from the noise. But it's a tricky problem to solve, because it's not just the noise from outside, it's also from your colleague who's sitting next to you, or the guy who's walking and talking on the phone in an open office environment. So there's a lot of factors to consider to really maintain a healthy environment to work. We're working on it. We're trying our best to sort of mitigate it. We are not there yet that we can say we can solve it completely, but definitely can improve it. And that's what something I was also wondering during this discussion, like optimum air quality and temperature. It's quite important. But how is noise considered in the wellness factor? Like, for example, Sebastian, in the healthy level of a building, how is noise considered?
So well is definitely one of the, or noise is definitely one of the topics. So you have the noise canceling, the noise from outside, noise canceling within an office, sound masking, definitely from those perspectives. I think there's 5 or 6 different topics within which touch how sound is experienced, and well, that it is definitely a good one. But I have a question for you, Amal. So looking at data creates always insight. But is your solution also able to turn that insight into an action?
So we are not there yet to be able to give a verified answer to this, but our idea is once you have different windows that have active noise cancellation technology on it installed in a building, you can generate quite a lot of data which points towards insights into how the building has been used. For example, imagine a scenario: you just walk into a building and you see a map of where are more people, where are less people, based on how much noise they are creating. So if you want to walk to a quiet spot because you have a focused work to do, then you know exactly where you have to go to in the building. Which corner of the cafe should you sit? These kind of data you can generate, which leads to different kind of dynamic behavior of the people who are using the building. But then you also have another aspect of noise monitoring. For example, all the equipment that are in the building, your ventilation system, your blinds, they all have this specific sound signature that can tell you if they're working properly or not. So if you are also recording that, then you sort of have a quality idea of the quality of things that are in the building, of their health. But these are things to do step by step based on what really the office users or the office owners want there, but definitely room to generate actionable insights using noise data.
Yeah, one interesting example I want to give here. So in several site visits we had, we saw, or we heard several examples. AC and noise is also really correlated, because if you have HVAC, they also bring some noise, or they are quite noisy. And in some cases, they have, let's say, this fresh air units, but they turn it off because it's loud, and then they forget about the existence, right? Because it's been turned off for a couple of years, and then they forget about the existence of the fresh air handling unit, and then they start complaining about the air quality. So it's kind of, the two actually can be matched, and I'm sure if you cross match, there will be very interesting results and case studies out of this.
You can match it if you take a walk in a forest, for instance. This is pleasant, and so is the air quality.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's precisely what we are trying to achieve. So it's the technology is not just to cancel the noise, but to optimize the soundscape, as we call it, the whole acoustic environment of a building. So, for example, if some people probably listen to jazz music when they have to really focus on something, and some people listen to bird sounds because that makes them relax and then they can work better. So the idea is really to sort of customize for people who are in that acoustic environment, however they want it to be. So cancel the noise that they don't want, and play the sounds that they do want to hear in the background. And that kind of also sort of overshadows the other chatter in an open space office. That's
really cool. I'd like to have a talk with you, Aman, on this topic for more, because it's definitely really interesting. No, it's well, as mentioned, from a well perspective, this is necessary in some cases, and well, it's a really good topic to address as well. Yeah, indeed. Also, like, there's such a strong statistics that people have generated based on how it affects the productivity. About 66% is affected by noise, or it's reduced. Yeah. Wow. I'm not always a very big believer of all the statistics that are generated on social experiments, because you never know how the experiments were conducted, they were biased or not. But there are a lot of indicators not to believe it. Claims on productivity are always the biggest to be challenged, so to say. Yeah. I definitely think having an optimal indoor climate on every aspect improves it, but it's really hard to pinpoint or to say exactly what the influence is on productivity. Yes, you can make people more productive, but are they using that time, or are they using it as well productive? So it's really tricky to be able to answer that. Not sure what your opinion is on that one.
And imagine 10 years from now, where do we stand? Do we still work in an office, or do we need a healthy workspace at home?
Definitely, people will become more aware on these kind of things, and this is a good thing, not only when they are inside an office building, but also for their everyday life. People are starting to know that there are things that they can improve. Either we are talking about the comfort you have from noise cancellation or from various things that you filter out of your air. This will generally impact our lifespan, I think, and it's some kind of education form that we get from the technical side of things, because people have this big inertia. You can't, as also Sebastian said on productivity, you can't really just come out with some figures and expect that everyone will believe you right away. These things take time, but I think we are on a good direction by trying to make a change here. And with such effort, I think that we will generally improve the quality of life. And this is a good thing to go for.
Yeah.
And that's something I also wanted to sort of discuss with you all, since you have much more experience than I do in the field. For a future value that you promise to sort of generate for a building user, how do you motivate them to sort of make a drastic change in the way they build buildings or they use buildings right now? That's something. It has so many parameters, and I just want to hear your experience in this.
I think that goes two ways. So first is the existing buildings, which definitely will be there for the next couple of years, and the new buildings. So in the new buildings, you see already, or with the large renovations, you already see the front runners who are aware of the change needed to come to that one. And with the existing buildings, I think more and more people will be aware of what the influence is of different topics, and it will grow in the next time. And I think PropTech solutions like ours, like yours, will definitely help on creating that awareness.
Yeah, we'll do our best for sure. We're gonna push it. It's gonna take some time, but yeah.
Yeah.
We need more well-certified.
We definitely do. No, but it's I see it coming together. So a well certification combined with a sustainability, any kind of certification, but I think that is the way forward for larger renovations. Tackle two major issues in one go, and not sticking to only upgrading it from a sustainability perspective, but take well-being in account as well.
I have one question from Albert Groenewoud. What could be the reason that there are no governmental regulations for the indoor environment?
So there are regulations, but they are not that strict, and they're not touching all the topics we can address. So yeah, there's definitely room for improvement, but I don't think you need to regulate anything or everything. You just need to make building owners, tenants more aware of what the possibilities are and what the effects will be, and then it will come out of itself.
Yeah, and the regulations.
How do you do that?
Yeah, the regulations are usually, let's say, they're like maintained with maybe regular inspections in a building, right? Maybe they just have a handheld device, and randomly or quarterly they inspect the air quality of the building. But the air is just really random. It's like the outdoor air. It's like you pick a random day and then you judge the climate of a country. This is totally wrong. So we believe that governments also will be pushing more and more real-time data so that they will have a better overview, like how the building is doing. And in some countries, they already this will be impacting the even rentals, or this will change the value of the real estate. And so this is kind of a bidirectional push. And also there will be even a threat for the buildings. Maybe we will be talking about permanently closing the schools, which performs poor indoor air quality. So we will see that, but not right away, but within the 5 to 10 years, we will see a huge change in the indoor regulations as well.
Yeah, because that doesn't sound really sustainable. If we should close buildings because they're not healthy anymore.
Yeah. We will retrofit it. We will make it healthier. So there are solutions. Yeah. So governments should incentivize or push towards retrofitting instead of building a new buildings from scratch.
In that sense, I also feel sometimes, correct me if I'm wrong, but regulations are a sort of a simplified version of what happens in the reality, and you cannot cover whole spectrum of things that you need to build a healthy indoor environment in some definitions of parameters that you can measure. For example, at least for the noise, it's only the sound levels that the government suggests that you need to regulate. So it should not be 55 dB, but 33 dB, and then it should be comfortable. But that's not how the real life works. You need to look at a lot of different kind of sounds, different frequencies, and human perception of those frequencies. People can still be annoyed by a 33 decibel sine tone and maybe not with 55 decibel bird songs, right? So regulations are a good directive to sort of start thinking about what's the bare minimum we need to sort of go on this path. But then there's so much more that we need to add to it to make it where it's actually good and comfortable. And I think that's what all of us are trying to do here, to make it more aware, okay, in terms of air quality, what are the things we need to look at, how the temperature variation is affecting people's mood or how they're working. Regulations also take time to be updated. The society is moving faster, I think, in terms of what people expect in every 5 years.
Yeah, so it's a good start, but we need the market and you guys to really, make it happen. Now, thanks, Albert, for your question. And that also,
for the governments, I think that they are, after all, an exponent of the society. And if there is no knowledge on all these things that can impact us in a way or another, then we cannot expect any laws to enforce them. And just to make a short joke on Aman's decibels levels, you know that there was this guy living in a secluded place, and there was this ticking sound, very low noise, but it started to be so annoying because of the human perception. And eventually it started to try to think of it as some kind of music, and then it passed by. For the regulations, I think that sometimes it's important to start with it from the ground level. For instance, there are places where radon gas is a problem, and people are building, they have huge construction sites there, and no one cares about the radon levels. This is just an example of the things that we don't know. And because of missing knowledge, we just go ahead doing our stuff without proper enforcement and care. And the result is that people will get exposed to those kind of things with very bad impact on health. And this is why I think that we need to take the best of what technology offers us. If we can measure something, we can monitor something, then just go for it. As Hassan, I think, said about the things you measure inside a building, yes, you can do that. If you do it just for a couple of seconds, then the results you get will have very little relevance. But if you're starting to see the building as a living being, and as we take the temperature of our bodies, we do the same with the buildings, and we are looking for everything from noise to CO2 and radon level, then we are definitely getting better spaces for our offices or for our living spaces.
I think they all should be well certified. Then you cover all those topics.
No, but I think there's a lot of work to do to become a healthy worker and to have buildings really healthy. We're running out of time. Last word.
I was just saying that the users also play a very important role, because sometimes there are companies who are developing technology, then there are real estate developers who are implementing it. and the user who's actually going to work in that office is kind of left out of the whole loop. And they are the most important stakeholder, because they are the ones who's going to say if I'm comfortable or not. So I think there's also sort of a shift that needs to happen there, where we can involve these users in the building to sort of help us optimize the technology that we are trying to offer. And that kind of completes the loop for me, at least.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and I think that's nice about this discussion, because we started on cost savings, but like Sebastian pointed out, that's only like a small part, and it should be more about well-being and about the end user. No, I think it's a good has been a good discussion, you guys. Thanks for all your input.
Thanks for organizing it
and examples.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, and
Nice
now all
meeting
have
you
a
all.
good day.
Thank you.
And
Bye-bye.
Stephanie.
You too.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Everyone. Good day.
Bye.
Have a
care.
healthy day.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Have a healthy day.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.